Hello everybody. So last weekend I went to the RV fly-in in Hildesheim in Germany, and it was really great. There were a lot of RVs, and everybody was interested in the U-Well power engine on my RV7, so that was nice. I had a lot of people who met me there. When I went to Friedrichshafen, I got a list from the people from U-Well Power, because I removed the cables of my engine, and they inspected it thoroughly, I can say. And there were a lot of different experts from U-Well Power, like people from Spain and from the UK and from Germany, and they all looked at my plane, and they had some, let's say, improvements. So I'm going to share this list with you. The first improvement was the copper grease on the clamps, actually the thread of the clamps of the exhaust system. So the exhaust system, which half I lost in Germany apparently, but if you the threads of those clamps get very hot, and if you don't put copper grease on them, you will not be able to open them anymore, because they wear very fast. So that was a good point. Another one is the rubbers for the engine. So you have rubbers here and at the bottom here, and they should always be well, they shouldn't dry out, let's put it that way. So you need to grease them up with Vaseline, as we call it. I think it's probably some silicone grease. Of course, it should not eat the rubber, right? Then you have the wrong grease. But yeah, you need to keep them from drying out. That's important. So I didn't do that. So that was a good tip. Another one was that the first two cylinders. Well, actually, I found it out myself. The first two cylinders, they are too cold, too cool, you could say. And you can see that if you look in the air duct. The first cylinder on the left side and the right side, both sides, they get a lot of cooling air, of course, apparently too much. So I have to make a little ramp in there to flow the air over partly over the first cylinder, because else it was below the 100 degrees centigrade, and that's a little cold. Another one is the location of the air filter. So I'll walk to the other side. As you can see here, the air filter, it's normally connected here in the side pocket, in the cowl, but it doesn't have a direct connection to the outside. So it takes the air which is coming from the engine and puts it here. I thought that would be good enough. Well, it is good enough because it flies okay, but they told me in Friedrichshafen that there is a temperature sensor on the manifold, which is this sensor here, and that sensor actually measures the temperature of the manifold, and if that's more than 20 or 25 degrees higher than the outside air temperature, then it's the engine won't run, let's say, perfectly. So it's an efficiency thing. I didn't know this was I saw it was a sensor, but I didn't know it was a temperature sensor. I actually first thought it was the manifold pressure, but that's not the case. So I actually added my own manifold pressure sensor. That's here, and goes back to the air duct. But this one is the temperature sensor, and I connected it, or it was already connected, of course, but I found it in on the auxiliary channel in the EMS, and this way you can measure the temperature. And it was like it's like 40 degrees when the outside air temperature was 15, so that's 25 degrees. That's on the, let's say, on the high side. So I'm planning on making another air duct and getting a NACA duct specifically for the input air, for the air filter. It's not my highest priority, but it's something I need to do. Next thing is the air ducts itself. So the air boxes, these air boxes that you get from your power, they are standard, but this part here is not standard. I made it myself. It's made from carbon, as you can see. And they asked me, is there something in between here? Is there something between the carbon and the aluminum? And well, there's not. There's nothing in between. And they said this will corrode the aluminum because there is a potential difference between the carbon and the aluminum, as some metals have that, right? This characteristic, and this will slowly corrode the aluminum. So I either had to prime the aluminum, or what most people actually do is put glass over it. So first make a layer of glass and resin, and then put carbon on it. I didn't know that, so but I just inspected, and it's okay. It will probably take a long time before it's corroded, so I just for now I keep it like this. And if it's really a problem, then I will replace it. Another thing with the air ducts is that when I installed them, I riveted them, as you can see, to the plate down there. So these rivets, they connect the airbox to the bracket which is fixed to the engine. And I thought it's not a problem, because then it's really nice and tightly fit. But apparently you need to be able to remove the airbox because there are bolts, these one here, that you need to torque, or at least check them every once in a while to see if the cylinder heads are still torqued correctly. And they're also here, so you cannot reach them if the airbox is not removed. So that's an issue. So I'm going to drill out the rivets and make nut plates for them. That way, yeah, I can access the holes to check the torque of the cylinders. And the last thing, and which was probably the biggest thing, is the position of the oil-air separator. So if you look at the oil-air separator, that's this box over here. That box is there to separate the oil from the air, and the exhaust, or let's say the air, comes out here. The air without oil. Well, there's always a little bit oil in there, of course. And I didn't connect it because I thought, well, air's coming out. Why do I need to connect it anywhere? But they said, no, that's not a good idea, because there will be aerobatic procedures where there will come oil out, and then it will really smudge up your firewall. So don't do that. You have to run here, a line from here to either the exhaust system to let it burn, or all the way to the tail of your engine. That's what the extras do. And then at the tail wheel, they just exhaust it there, so it won't smudge up your airplane. I'm not very fond of putting a cable or a tube all the way through the fuselage, so I'm probably going for the exhaust route. Also, and that was actually the biggest issue, is that this part here is now on the left side of the plane, so on the pilot side, and it should be on the right side. So when I was installing the engine, I thought, hey, shall I do the coils on the left or on the right, or the oil filter? And I didn't really know, and I just arbitrarily made a choice, and I arbitrarily made the wrong choice, because what I found out is that this line here, as you can see, that is connected all the way here to the engine, and this is the left side of the engine. And if this is on the left side of the engine, then your oil-air separator should be on the right side of the engine, because apparently if you do specific aerobatics, maybe some drastic ones, but okay, at least, then this line will fill up with oil, and if you make a roll, it will come out here. Whereas you put this one on the right side of the engine, of the plane, it won't fill up with oil. So apparently I need to change this. That's a little problem because I already have installed the coils over there, and I decided not to change the coils because they are really good there and I don't want to change that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the oil air separator, stop the holes with bolts, so that's okay, there are no holes in the firewall then, and take this one and install it on the other side. Install it here on this spot. Again, it will bring some weight to the passenger side of the plane, but that's not a problem. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Again, it's not a very high priority thing, but it's something I will do somewhere this year, I guess. My highest priority now is finishing up the battery installment, and then get a new exhaust system, because yeah, that's broken. And I'm continuing with my 15-hour inspection, which is almost done. But of course I need a new exhaust system anyway, so and that's it. Okay, continuing flying my pie in the sky.